We are live at the 104.1 River West Radio. This is Doug Cornfield. And my guest today, or my co-host today, are Dave Clark, Dave Geis. We're kind of scattered all over the world again. And let me bring these two men on. How you guys doing today?
Hey, we're doing good, but we're
crazy show. I have a feeling it's going to be a crazy show.
It's going to be rocking tonight, man.
Something's going to be up.
We're not only your co-host tonight, we're your guests.
Yes. Yeah, you're always my guest. Everybody knows I'm really the host.
You got to treat us with respect over here.
That's right.
Yeah, I'll give you all the respect you deserve. So. Anyway, this is the Pulling Each Other Along show, and we do try to encourage people to help others. Thanks to Dave Clark's wonderful story of being pulled along in a wagon by Ernie Pound. And if you're not familiar with that story, you can go to look at poundofkindness.net, see a beautiful video of this wonderful story that Dave Clark shared in his book. And we have no special guest today. Our guest was unable to come due to a procedure. But we're going to ask our faithful fans in the chat session to make sure they're asking us questions, what they would like to know. There's Barbara Poklopsky. Dave, you have to pronounce her name. Rusty Dye. And so we had a busy 2 weeks, Dave. What did we get in? Dave Clark.
We really did. We did our first D3 camp in quite a while out here in Pine Island, Florida. And a week ago tonight, you and I were at the Minnesota Twins farm teams game in Fort Myers. Took the group back to the game, and everybody had a good time.
And there we are for the folks on Facebook and YouTube.
Oh my goodness!
Look at that. And I don't know if you noticed, but we were matching.
Oh yeah, I didn't.
We must have planned that.
It didn't register.
You guys have like granimals on your
shirt? It's kind of like the Colgate twins.
Okay.
Yeah. You guys way back in the day.
We get that. So.
Well, while you guys were having fun at the ball game, I was raking pine cones and pine needles at a camp.
Aha.
Why would you be doing this, Dave Geis?
I'm glad you guys had a good time. It's good.
Well, what were you raking pine cones for, Dave?
Well, we got to clean camp up, man. We're starting to camp up in about a month or so.
Pretty soon. Yeah.
A lot of camps going on.
Yes, sir.
So
how was your camp?
What was that?
How was your camp?
Dave, why don't you give a report of camp?
Actually, it came out very well. I mean, we had a lot of support from the Pine Island community. And, we had Wounded Warrior football players show up. We had Dave Stevens here. We had the Pine Island Little League just swallowed it up. They were great. And, we had assistance from the fire department out there, from the church out there, and everything fell together. And like Doug will attest to, we didn't have a lot of time to put this thing together. And we ended up having 45, 50 participants out there on a beautiful Saturday morning. And everybody had a great time. Such a good time that, I made a commitment to the people out there that even if Doug and I, and we probably most likely will go back to Hammond Stadium and hold future camps like we did in the past before COVID with the Twins farm team. But even if we do that, I want to do another camp on Pine Island. We just had tremendous support out there, and it was really great. And it was a breath of fresh air. It was a small town atmosphere, and everybody pulled together and did what they had to do to make this thing go.
Yes, they did. I mean, a lot of people pulled together. It was pretty amazing because, again, like Dave Clark said, we didn't have very much time. And for those in the listening audience that aren't familiar with Dave and what Dave and I do is we put on sports camps for children and young adults with all different disabilities. And one of the cool things that we get to do at those camps, and we got to do it again last week, is we give away a Pulling Each Other Along award at our camps. and we look for deserving people, usually unsung heroes, and those unsung heroes are pulling other people along. In this case, we kind of had a mother who represents many, many, many mothers who's been pulling along her child. Angela Booth was the winner of this year's Pulling Each Other Along Award in Southwest Florida. And she happens to be, their story is going to be highlighted in the new book, Pulling Each Other Along. And so we were really pleased to give that one to her. She was a past guest of ours. Tom Cullen had nominated her. He's one of the Punishers group that's really helped their family. So it kind of all circles around all the pulling and the pushing and the helping with this particular group. So that's always exciting for us to be able to give out a Pulling Each Other Along award.
And if you pop that picture back up for a minute, Doug, for those that are able to see it, I know that in Milwaukee we're on the radio, but if you look to the far right side, the gentleman in the wheelchair, Jay Lawrence, and he is actually the first ever Pulling Each Other Along award winner that we ever presented that award to. Did that right at Hammond Stadium in Fort Myers, Florida. And Jay's story is fantastic in itself. He was a star center fielder in high school for the Cape Coral High School baseball team, and had a really devastating accident on Alligator Alley late one night, and it left him paralyzed. And Jay and I had a long talk this week that and I didn't tell you about either, Doug, but we were talking about, I'm not sure I would have been able to do what Jay did. He went from being a star athlete in one flash instant to being a quadriplegic. And yeah, he's admitted that there's and Jay, people know the story because he's been a guest on this show before, but there's a period of mourning your loss, but he picked himself up, and now he's running the Florida Stingrays semi-pro football team, and just pushing along in life and doing what he can do with what he's got.
Yeah, and not to mention being a part of our camps, for how many times he was helping us.
Yeah, he was out Saturday to the camp, and just a great inspiration to all the people that attend the camp, and to his players. You can see the respect that he gets from his players that he really gives an opportunity to. So, hopefully, Dave, you get to meet Jay someday.
Yeah, I hope to. I really do. Seemed like a very inspirational guy. And, you think about, just like you were saying, it had to be a whole different set of struggling for him, since he was an athlete, an able-bodied athlete, if you will, and then all of a sudden paralyzed and unable to, continue his life as he knew it. So that really had to be difficult for him. But sounds like he's doing just fine.
He's handled it really well, and one of the my son Trey's one of the Little League teams that he plays against, his former coach with Cape Coral High School has a grandson on one of the other teams, and so we get to talk quite a lot. And he mentioned the show that we had with Jay to me out at a Little League game when I said and it kind of took me back because I didn't really get the connection. So he said something about that show you had the other night with Jay Lawrence. He said, I watched it and it was just great. And he said, it moved me to tears at times because I remember Jay before.
Oh, really?
Wow. And so then it finally clicked. I said, oh, you were watching the radio show. And he says, yeah, he says, I was watching it on whatever, Facebook or however they watch it. But, he filled me in a little bit on pre-injury Jay, because it's like a lot of people that meet me today. They see Dave Scooter guy.
Right.
I see Jay, the wheelchair guy. I never saw Jay play, so it was really kind of refreshing to get the the other side of Jay, and that's why when Jay and I probably talked for about an hour this week, and he mostly wanted to hear stories. Of,
What stories? Let's get a story, Dave.
Yeah, those stories, and but he, we did get serious at times, and just like I told him and like I tell everybody, I never had to make a transition. I just did what came normal to me, even though it may not have been normal to anybody else. It was normal to me.
Yeah.
So, but Jay didn't. He had to make that adjustment, that transition. That's tough.
Yeah, I can't imagine, to be honest with you. I really can't. I mean, now, even though I'm not athletically doing anything, not like 20 years ago, but back then, I can't even imagine what would have been like,
Hey, Dave, guys, I got a question for you to keep things rolling. So we had a chance meeting last Saturday with the Incredible Hulk, and Dave and Mr. Lou Ferrigno had a little wrestling match. So if it was going to come down to the Incredible Dave Clark versus the Incredible Hulk, and people in the chat room, let us know who would win this battle. Would it be Mr. Lou Ferrigno or Mr. Dave Clark?
Well, let me ask. Can you use objects in this wrestling match?
Dave will cheat if it means winning, especially in a fight.
I've never seen anybody wield a crutch like Dave Clark.
So he would use it as a weapon.
With that thing, Big Lou was going down.
There you go. So this man right here, you're going to put your money on Dave Clark figuring out a way.
Every day, he always does figure a way out.
All right. What about the chat room? Anybody have any? Who's out there in the chat room that would think Mr. Clark versus Mr. Lou Ferrigno? It was pretty fun to meet him. We actually were invited to a private dinner as well, and so that was pretty nice. And meeting other people. Dave, so what was it like to meet the Incredible Hulk?
It was good.
It's good. There you go.
I mean, I don't mean to downplay anything, but you know me.
Yeah, I know.
And my son put it best, because I asked on Saturday when we went out to meet Lou early in the morning. I asked Trey if he wanted to come along, and he said. And my wife Camilla said, "You should go, Trey. You should meet. He's a pretty big star." And Trey said, and I'm not being smart here. I'm not being. Trey said it perfectly. He said, "Mom, he's just a person." And I don't mean to demean Lou, because it was great to meet Lou Ferrigno, and he too. For people that don't fully know the story, he's deaf.
Right.
And before, and Saturday night, you're talking about that private party, Doug. Before you arrived, Camilla and I were there, and we were originally set up at a table outside. There's about 25 to 30 people invited to this private party, and we were set up outside at the Waterfront Hotel. And Lou could not hear because of the background noise and the din going on. He couldn't hear well, and so we had to move it inside. And so though Lou is overcome as well, and just to be able to do what he does is a tremendous story too. And everybody's got their story. You asked me what it was like to meet him. It was great to meet Lou Ferrigno. But again, what can I say? I think the only person, as you might know, Doug and Dave, I don't know if you know this, the only person I might ever get starstruck by would have been Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, I think you brought that up a couple of weeks ago.
That's one guy that probably,
yeah,
had I ever had the opportunity, and I was at the Olympics.
Right.
And he lit the torch.
Right.
And that's one person that probably would leave me speechless. But no, it was a good weekend. It was fun. It was it was fun to hobnob a little bit. I'm not that schmoozer type guy, and so for me,
speaking of schmoozing, let's take a quick break just to let everybody know we are on the 104.1 River West Radio, WXRW, out of Milwaukee on the Ability MKE Now show. But this is the Pulling Each Other Along show segment with Dave Clark, Dave Geis, and myself, Doug Cornfield. And our special guest couldn't appear today. And so we have somebody else that popped in, and I'm sure he is just chomping at the bit to get in and talk. We got Todd Siven. He's in the house. Todd and I are the co-writers for the Pulling Each Other Along book. Todd, how is the Massachusetts world?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I heard Dave Clark telling the story about one person in my life that I would be starstruck if I saw him. And I started to get all peacocky, my chest pumped up for him to say Todd Siven. Yeah, and he says Muhammad Ali. And
all the air went out of the balloon.
Bruins goalie Tim Thomas a few years ago said, I'm not going to stand there and pump his tires. And I guess Dave Clark is not one to pump my tires.
And what do you mean, Todd? I was about to tell him that, Dave, we met years ago. What do you what's the problem?
That would be awesome. Now, another thing that popped into my head, and the caption on the Lou Ferrigno, it is the Incredible Hulk meeting the Incredible Hunk, from what I understand.
That's back when he was a Colgate boy.
Oh my goodness! Look at those pearly whites.
If I ever get a hold of that photo, it's going.
It's digital. It's digital. It's all over the world. There's nothing you can do about it now. It's that other picture we could get. You did get a vote, Dave. When we were asking people who would win on the Hulk versus the Incredible Dave. Well, Barbara says Dave for sure.
Oh, that's good. Thanks, Barb.
So she knows you. She knows you. So, Todd, what's going on in your world? Any questions you got for the three of us, since we're kind of the host, and we're going to make you the host now, so you can ask us questions.
Oh my goodness. I have a question for both Daves. I mean, for any of you, really. I'll take three opinions, but this is a pertinent topic right now. Unwritten rules of baseball. And you might have heard what happened for the White Sox against the Twins and how
3-0 pitch.
And I'd like to know your thoughts on that.
Dave Clark, you want to lead off with that one?
Sure. I don't see anything wrong with what happened. 3-0 pitch. Hey, you're gonna groove me a 3-0 pitch? I'm going to swing if I it's a different story if my manager has the take sign on. And I don't know if they did. I didn't. But what's wrong with swinging a 3-0 pitch?
Well, don't forget there was a catcher on the mound.
I don't care. I don't care.
I mean, you know how those catchers, don't you?
Wait a minute.
This is pro baseball. I've got a batting average to protect. And if you want to throw me some slop, I'm going to slap it.
Right. I agree with you. And I'm a little bit offended that the way the Twins responded the next day, they threw behind the bat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'd probably done that. No, I wouldn't do that.
You would have hit him, Dave. It would have been that 79-mile-an-hour fastball right in the ribs.
Let me tell you what, 79 hurts. If you put it in the right spot, 79 still hurts.
But what about in general? What about, I guess, what are called the unwritten rules of baseball? You can't toss your bat. You can't to malarkey, or is it legit?
No, Dave, go ahead and then I'll give my opinion.
Well, I think that the unwritten rules, some of them are ridiculous. Like I agree with what Dave said. If someone's going to groove you a 3-0 pitch, you swing at it. It's still part of the game.
Yeah.
You're still playing the game. Bat flips, that kind of thing, I don't like, only because this is drawing attention to yourself. And it's supposed to be a team game. You do what you're supposed to do on the field, and you move on. You don't need to show everybody up, bring attention to yourself by, flipping your bat and that kind of thing.
What about the fist pump after somebody strikes out a batter, though?
Yeah, don't like that either.
No.
Like pitcher, you mean, Todd? You mean
there's certain words that Dave was yelled at that we really can't share on this part of the radio. But I think I don't know if you shared that story where he had people yelling, "Knock the cripple," and they were saying certain words, and you can't even really say these words anymore. And they were pointing them at, no, I didn't say the word you can't say.
You just said the first half.
I said the first half.
Right.
And so,
well,
Dave,
that shouldn't have been done either. I mean,
well, look, you could change what was done.
Right.
You still get smarter from it.
Society evolves, and the mores today are not going to be the mores in the future, and they weren't in the past.
Right.
And if a guy shouted out what that guy said to me today, it's amazing because what he shouted out, again, as you said, Doug, we can't say it here fully, but what he shouted out was seconded by the fans. And today, I think that jerk would be thrown out, would be turned on by the fans.
Yeah.
And exited out of the stadium. That wasn't the case in the 70s.
Yeah. I think you're still going to get those people that will yell that out, but as a general public, they won't accept it. Not like they did there.
It's a different time today. But to get back to the original question about the unwritten rules, I think unwritten rules are whoever's managing a team. For me personally, if we got ahead by 7 or 8 runs, I'm not going to steal on you. Now you start cutting into my lead, I'm going to steal on you. Right. I'm not going to bunt. Hell, today they don't bunt anyway. So, but there were just unwritten things, etiquette, and that changes too. That changes with the times. The etiquette changes with the time. But there's always going to be some kind of an unwritten rule, and somebody's going to break it, and the other person's going to get ticked off.
I have another hot topic. Did you want to speak, Dave? I'm sorry.
I was going to say, like bunting to try to break up a no-hitter.
Yeah.
That one, I don't like that. I mean, I understand you're trying to get on base, but swing the bat. If you can't get a base hit by swinging the bat, that's the challenge. It's there.
Right.
Like bunting.
I never had to worry about no hitter.
Well,
that was gone. That was gone in the first inning. So.
And with these shifts now too, they're leaving the left side wide open, bunt down third baseline. Well,
are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
I would do that in a heartbeat.
Just get out of the shift then. Play straight up defense.
Well, Dave, when you and I played, there would be no shift because we'd hit the other way or bunt the other way.
Well, I'd strike out. So
Dave, sometimes when you struck out, they missed the ball, right? You could actually go to first.
Which one are you talking about? Me? To me?
Yeah, you. If you struck out, you still might have gotten on base, right?
Yeah, believe me, I would have been thrown out.
Okay.
No matter where that ball ended up.
Now
they would have thrown me out.
He didn't have as big a piano on his back as I did, but he was close.
Well, I was timed by the shorter month of the year, where Dave was timed by the longer month of the year. 31 years.
I had the full calendar month.
But good segue. What do you think about 6 no-hitters so far this year?
Wow, I find that hard.
Back to back.
I mean,
that's crazy.
Really, I don't know what's going on.
Well,
every day I open up the computer and there's another no-hitter, and I'm going like, why the hell did I play at this time?
I was going to say, yours.
That's right. So,
I heard a talk show today, a sports talk show, that they were saying that it's the ball has been dead this year.
Yeah, that's
so. What's really interesting is and this is an amazing stat. In the last 10 years, there were 20 no-hitters and 110 batters who had 5-hit games. This year, there's been 6 no-hitters and 6 batters having 5-hit games. So it's clear that it's something with the ball.
Well, I don't see how a no-hitter connects with a dead ball.
If a ball would have gone to the wall and is now a flyout, maybe?
Oh, yeah, no-hitter. Yeah. I'm thinking of strikeouts. Never mind. Yeah.
I get it, but
That was your
I have
catcher brain, clicking in there a second there, Dave.
He played football too. Yeah.
What do you think about extra innings starting a runner on second base?
I hate that.
I hate it too. It's like Little League.
I hate that. I mean, they started that in the minor leagues, and speed up the game. Listen, if you don't want to go watch a baseball game and stay to the end, then get the hell out. Don't go in the first place. Okay.
Well, that's what people are doing, unfortunately.
Don't go in the first place. If you don't
get the heck out, right?
To me, being at the ballpark is my home, my second home. And I find it relaxed. I can let loose at the ballpark. It's these yuckity yucks in the suits that go and they want to sit there for 4 or 5 innings and they haven't seen a pitch.
Yeah.
They don't know what's going on in the game, but they got to be home to their wife at 10 o'clock at night that are changing, and they're buying up these tickets that normally – and driving up ticket prices that normally the average guy taking his kid to the ballgame can't afford to go anymore. He's the guy who would say, a real baseball fan, a real fan does not like the man on second rule.
Right.
End of discussion.
But Dave, can you do us a favor? Tell us how you really feel.
We'll have to do that on the after show. He's already slipped a few times today.
Yeah,
so,
but you got me going. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. You want to go to a ball game, and everybody wants to see a good ball game. And if it's going extra innings, I'm like, yeah, I'm getting free baseball. I'm getting to see extra innings. But that's not the mentality anymore. We got to be home. I came to the ballpark to see the in-between inning skits or something. Go for the baseball, man. Go for the baseball.
I knew I was in trouble when my first girlfriend, okay, this goes back a long time ago. I took her to a Brewers game.
1 minute, Dave. 1 minute, Dave, guys. 1 minute warning.
It was a doubleheader. We sat down. She pulls out a book to read. And I said, this is a doubleheader. She goes, oh, I know. She reached down, a second book. I thought, oh, this isn't going to work. This is not going to work. I'm done.
and she was done.
Yeah, basically.
Right.
Very good. So, hey, Todd, thanks for joining us on you're welcome to stay for the after show. We'll talk for a few more minutes. We're wrapping up. We got about 30 seconds. But, Todd, what you did for us, this was kind of called, the summer wake up. I don't know. It's not quite summer yet, but I think I brought the Florida weather on up to New York because I think it was 91 degrees when it had snowed less than 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So we're in
you might be
here with the weather, but
you
this
might
is
be
the
a
summer
degree
sizzle.
off.
And this has been the 104.1 River West Radio. Good night. All right, Dave Clark. We are back on here live on
Clark, you can't say hell on the radio
show, and Dave can now say words that he shouldn't say on live radio. I'm not sure if hell is one of them, but you dropped that bomb a couple of times. I think it might be okay. I don't know.
Well,
I'm sure we'll be told.
Well, I just wanted to correct you because Beak, who is never wrong, by the way, when it comes to he said it was 92 in Corning, and not 91.
Oh, yeah, 92.
So he is always on the money. I believe you, Beak. 92.
Well, it was 92 on his side of the hill, but on my side of the hill it was only 91.
You live on the poor side.
I do. I live on the poor side.
Yeah.
No doubt. You know, that's about what, a mile away over there to Beaks, and
That's
so
right.
Beak.
Did any of you guys catch CC Sabathia's F-bomb filled tirade talking about Tony La Russa's decision on how to handle that guy?
No.
Did not.
There's if you lined up the number of F-bombs that he said versus the number of women that Dave Clark had, it's a tie
Oh,
for a bazillion. I mean,
Oh.
just like incredible.
where did Dave go?
And Doug Cornfield missed that one completely. You were in the ozone, my friend.
Boom.
The ozone.
Yeah, I just said something complimentary about you.
No, I'm sorry. Dave Stevens is texting me.
Okay,
Okay.
got it.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
multitasking.
You can watch the reruns and you can catch that
All
one.
right, I have to watch the rerun on that one.
Yeah.
By the way, I got to say hi to Peter real quickly. Barbara Rossetti's Peter. He said to say hi, so I got to say hi back. Hi, Peter.
There you go. Peter said hi. There's Peter's little text. Or
Barbara asked if we will be doing a camp in Corning
She did.
here.
I'd say it's 50-50
It's up the air right now. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we don't even know if we're going to get the college teams. I've tried to get with the coach, so it's still 50-50. You know, and fundraising, quite frankly, has been very difficult. And so until we get that fundraising rolling, it's hard to plan the camps because it takes money to run these things.
And again, Doug, you go back to the camp we just did. We got quite a bit of support on short notice financially too for that camp
We did.
to happen. So that was great as well.
Yep. So that was group effort there. And, so we're going to do some camps. We just got to be very careful financially to not kill us. And we've got some really cool
That wouldn't
things
be
happening.
good because if we were dead, there wouldn't be any camps.
So if one of the 5 people that are listening
Dave?
out there
Really?
have millions of dollars to hand us, we could put it to good use because these camps sure do create.
Why could I ever put that to good use?
So when you see this, and that's just like one of the many, many, many pictures that have been created at our camps over the years. It's pretty exciting to see. And not to mention the families, they get tickets to come back to a game. It was a beautiful night, Thursday night last week, and it's all good.
So what are the kind of things you guys have coming up? Anything?
So we have one camp that's scheduled for sure. I have to get with, it looks like the Hartford Yard Goats tomorrow.
Let me ask you a question, Doug. The one that's for sure is Hickory, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Is that August 18th or 28th?
I have 28th in my brain, but
Oh my goodness, I know your brain. So yeah,
but I guess I have to check with Mr. Hall, our main sponsor for that one. I'm pretty sure it's that, but
that event we did in Hartford just at the beginning of the pandemic, I guess it was now. That was the only event I've ever been to, and it was phenomenal. And according to you, it wasn't nearly as incredible as most of them because we were faced with certain guidelines and limitations. But if that's any indication, then what you do is just incredible.
well, you got it really, Todd. I hope you two get the opportunity to see one of our I don't know what you want to call it, one of our
disability dream and do.
all inclusive camps where where Hudson Valley, where all the players come out and mingle with to put the camp on for the kids. The players are the icing on the cake.
Mm-hmm.
We can do the camps are good. No matter, it's like a hockey game for me, except Doug will disagree with this, but there's no bad hockey. There's games that are better than others, but there's no bad hockey. So there's no bad camps.
Except when it's 0 degrees outside and Getty and
You know what? No, I won't say what I'm thinking right now. But anyway, but there's no bad camps.
except when it's 5 degrees with a wind chill of -20 in Williamsport and it's outside.
Okay, shut up, Doug.
All right.
Thank you.
If the kids are getting some out of it, it was never a bad camp.
No,
No,
you're right about that.
It's not, and so
Except when it's -20.
Even
-40.
then-
I think it was actually -40. Ask Gideon.
you're such a. I almost said it, but anyway, it would be good even then, Doug. If we were doing one of these camps and it was -40 and those kids were smiling, it would be good even then.
All right,
But it's better.
I'll believe you on that one.
It's better when we get.
We don't
those
need
players.
to take a poll. You are correct.
I see on the chat that Barbara said if there's anything we can do, let us know. So I'm thinking, how many zeros do you want left for the decimal?
Written on that check,
Yeah.
Barb. If you could put 7 or 8 zeros on that behind that.
You know what?
In front.
Somebody says they miss seeing you, Dave, but I don't know who it is.
Uh-oh. Well, that could mean anybody.
They're not
Okay.
sharing their identity.
Yeah,
Which
that's
Dave?
good.
probably wise.
Which Dave?
Oh, hey.
It's
Thank
Dave
you.
Geis. Might be
No.
Dave Geis. Yes.
Which
What?
Colgate boy?
Oh, there we go. Yikes.
I'm telling you that is gonna go.
That's the best picture I've ever gotten.
I've got another one if you'd like.
No,
Yeah,
we're good. We're good.
Yeah.
No, but I have a. When you flash that picture up there, let me see it again.
No, Todd, please.
You got the pearly whites, but then who's the guy with the porn stash there?
Oh,
Who is it?
I'm not sure.
No comment.
That's the Dave and
Okay.
Dave show right there.
Chicka bang bang, chicka bang 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 bang.
Yeah. Chicken out. We might have to end the show in short order.
Yeah, you know what I'm noticing? Where's Tom and Laura tonight?
Yeah, he said he was going to have front row seats, but we haven't heard from Tom or Laura. So if you guys
That's
are on,
very unusual.
maybe his internet was down. Maybe he heard Dave say bad things and he didn't want to continue with the show. Maybe.
Maybe he's the Facebook user that says Miss Cena Dave.
Oh, that could be.
Oh,
Maybe.
there he is. There he
Did he show up?
is.
Did he show up?
Hey, how do we
Oh
get
my
on-
gosh! There we go. We finally.
Now they're wanting autographed pictures of that.
Wait.
I
Like the
refuse.
Colgate boys. We should sell those autographed pictures of the Colgate boys.
I refuse.
Oh, I like it.
You can't refuse.
I don't know what kind of price ticket we can put on that. It might be
I
worth a
will.
lot.
Nickel? I don't know.
Well,
And I'm
it
just-
ain't worth a nickel.
Well, you
I'm
gotta have
just looking too. Another just thought that came to mind to raise funds. If Tom Damalukas and Barbara could give us a penny for every letter in their name, we'd be able to run this camp.
That might help. That might help.
Jeez.
Hey, Todd, I don't know if you were listening in, but what's your vote here? On the big challenge between the incredible Dave Clark and the Incredible Hulk.
You know what? I'm gonna say that. Wow.
Be honest.
I envision the crutch winning, like you said. I was a big WWE fan, and if you throw somebody across that table,
yeah.
you're gonna win the match. And I think that's what Dave would do. A foreign object, they said.
If you can use a
Throw
foreign
salt in
object.
the eyes and the crutch across the head.
Yep.
Dave would have some kind of powder in it, and when it hit, it would like
Oh,
spill
you
into
know
his
it.
eyes.
You
and-
know it.
Probably
Yeah.
load it with tennis balls.
Who would ever do that?
No, you know what?
Is there a story? Is there a story there, Dave? Guys?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness, we're selling the signed copies of the Colgate Boys.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that. We're
I
selling.
want one. How do we get an autographed copy? The pic should come with a copy of Pulling Each Other Along.
There you go. We might have to sell the. We might have to do it.
Who originated
No, we
that
actually.
picture?
I'm thinking we could get some endorsements from
Colgate.
Dental Association or Colgate. Yeah.
Did you say from a mental association?
No, dental.
It might be better with the M. You might have a better
Yeah,
shot.
I hear you
There's
there.
more money there.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
No margins in teeth anymore.
Oh, man.
So, all right, Todd Sivan, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Dave Clark. I am
Thanks,
sure people are ready to let us say goodnight. So, this has been another episode of the after show of the Pulling Each Other Along radio show, podcast,
There you go.
YouTube, Facebook, whatever you like.
So,
That's what we have. So, gentlemen, good night, and hopefully we'll have a special guest next week. We got to work on our guest list. They were juggling on me, and I was gone for 2 weeks, so it was a little bit more difficult, and Dave had that camp to focus on. So Dave and I had the camp to focus on. So appreciate everybody, and let's just all at once say goodbye.
see
See
you.
you, everybody.